Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 5th of June. Indian Foreign Minister attends IBSA ministerial meet in South Africa to boost ties. $5 million Afghans are registered to vote ahead of elections. And India, UN pledged to beat plastic pollution on World Environment Day. And now for all the details. Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj, who is on a 5-day visit to South Africa on Monday, met leaders of IBSA, a bloc working to deepen bilateral ties between India, Brazil and South Africa. She also held delegation-level talks with the Chinese counterpart on the sidelines of the BRICS ministerial meet in South Africa.
Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj held talks with the leaders of IBSA in South Africa's Pretoria city on Monday to strengthen coordination among the three-member grouping on major global issues. IBSA is a bloc working to deepen bilateral cooperation between India, Brazil and South Africa. During the meeting with Brazil's Deputy Foreign Minister Marcos Galvão and South Africa's Foreign Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, Swaraj discussed sustainable development goals, blue economy, defence cooperation and UNSC reforms. She later also held a separate meeting with her South African counterpart Sisulu to enhance bilateral ties between India and South Africa. Swaraj also held delegation-level talks with her Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Pretoria on the sidelines of the BRICS ministerial conference. The two leaders discussed issues of mutual interest, including ways to maintain the momentum in bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Swaraj, who is on a 5-day trip to South Africa, attended foreign ministers' meeting with her Brazilian, Russian and South African counterparts with Wang Yi earlier in the day. The ministerial conference is expected to lay the foundation for the annual summit of the grouping in Johannesburg next month.
Security forces in Baramulla district of India's Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday defused an improvised explosive device or IED reportedly placed by militants. The incident came just a few days after 3 army personnel were injured in an IED blast in Shopian district of the province on May 29th.
Indian security forces successfully averted a tragedy by defusing an improvised explosive device or IED in Baramulla district of India's Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. The IED, reportedly placed by militants in the Sopore area of the district, was discovered by the security forces by roadside. The area was cordoned off and a bomb disposal squad was rushed into the spot to defuse the bomb.
आईडी मिला है सवेरे पुलिस को और उसी को अभी फिर कंट्रोल तरीके से डिफ्यूज़ करा है यहाँ पे और क्या मैकेनिज्म था कौन सा एक्सप्लोसिव था क्या था चेक करवा रहे हैं.
Earlier on Monday, militants hurled a grenade on a police party in Sofian district of the province, injuring 8 people including a constable. The incidents came a week after 3 army personnel were injured in the IED blast in Sofian on May 29. India accuses Pakistan of training and arming militants and helping them infiltrate across the border to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley. Pakistan denies the allegations.
In news from Pakistan, as Muslims across the world are celebrating Ramadan, residents in Pakistan's Karachi city are dreading about the hike in prices of food items during the holy month. Ramadan may be a month of fasting, but for many Muslims, it also involves a gastronomical feast.
Pakistan is a predominantly Muslim country where more than 90% of its 190 million people practice Islam. At a time when Ramadan is being celebrated across the globe, locals in Pakistan's Karachi city are dreading spiraling food prices, which have become a regular feature during the holiest month in the Islamic calendar.
अफसोस के बिजनेस में जितने यहाँ बैठे हुए ना रमज़ान शरीफ के महीने में गैर मुस्लिम हिंदू वो भी अपने मुल्क में जो है ना अपने कम करते रेट में. यहाँ के लोग बोलते रमज़ान आ गया कमाओ लूटो गरीबों को लूटो.
There are around 1,200 small and big markets in the port city, and during Ramadan, business doubles and prices skyrocket.
दूसरे मुल्कों में जो उनके त्यौहार आते हैं सस्ताई होती है, यहाँ खाली और महंगाई डबल हो जाती है। एक चीज़ ये प्याज 20 रुपये किलो मिल रही साली 19 रुपये किलो, यहाँ 25 रुपये किलो है।
Ramadan may be a month of fasting, but for many Muslims, it also involves a gastronomical feast. The holy month will draw a close around June 14, depending on the sighting of the new moon.
Moving on, Sengh Sereng, director of Washington-based think tank Institute for Gilgit-Baltistan Studies, recently blamed that Pakistan is using Gilgit-Baltistan as a territory to nurture terrorism. Activists have long accused Islamabad for sponsoring terrorism on its soil and regions under its illegal rule.
People living in Gilgit-Baltistan are deprived of basic civic, political and social rights. A suppressive coalition of callous army generals and corrupt political honkos is at the helm of severe atrocities meted out on the locals. The repression is further aggravated by harsh legislation that is introduced arbitrarily. Recently, director of Washington-based think tank Institute for Gilgit-Baltistan Studies, Sengh Sereng, said that Pakistan is using Gilgit-Baltistan as a territory to nurture terrorism. While addressing an event in Washington, D.C. in the presence of U.S. Congressman Sereng, who is also an activist, blamed large swaths of the illegally occupied region are being used by Pakistani intelligence agencies as terror launching pads against India.
There's hundreds and hundreds of people on the street demanding self-rule and end to Pakistan's colonial rule in Gilgit-Baltistan and end to China's encroachment on our land and resources. And because of Pakistan's relationship with the militant organizations and its illegal involvement in Afghanistan, Gilgit-Baltistan became the hotbed for militancy during the Afghan jihad, and it's been going on and continued like that since then. And unfortunately, that has, as a consequence, resulted in massacre of the local people there.
Pakistan stands on the cusp of being declared a pariah state after it was put in grey list by the Financial Action Task Force for its active involvement in the funding of the terror activities. There is a growing anger amongst the people of Gilgit-Baltistan, and they are demanding an immediate action against the nurturing factory of terrorism.
In news from Afghanistan, around 5 million people have registered to vote ahead of the parliamentary and district council polls in Afghanistan, which are scheduled to be held in October. However, the Afghan poll body said over 700 voter registration centres are still closed due to security threats across the country.
According to the Independent Election Commission or IEC of Afghanistan, around 5 million people have registered to vote across the country since the beginning of the registration process in April. The IEC has said over 700 voter registration centres remain closed due to security threats across the country, while government forces have transferred election materials to at least 53 centres over the past week, which were closed due to lack of it.
مواد باید به وقت زمانش میرسید. تاسفانه که شرایط جنگی بود، تیارات ما در عملیات ها مصروف بود و چیزایی مواد است که از طریق هوا انتقال میشد. از همین خاطر این یک ذره تاخیر صورت گرفت، ولی موادی که به ولسوالی رسیده عملا در اوج ثبت نام شروع شده.
The first phase of voter registration process in Afghanistan will end on June 7, but the Commission has said discussions are ongoing due to extend the process. The upcoming parliamentary and district council polls are scheduled for October this year.
Authorities in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province recently launched a massive dredging operation to restore the blocked waterways in the iconic Dal Lake. The lake is visited by millions of tourists every year and brings in huge revenue for the boat rows.
Authorities in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province have launched a massive cleaners drive to clean the iconic Dal Lake in a bid to attract tourists. The drive, undertaken by the Lakes and Waterways Development Authority or LAWTA, was started to clean the lake of lily weeds, which have been damaging the ecological balance of the lake and taking a heavy toll on the fragile ecosystem of the water body. Dredgers have been deployed to clean up the moss and weeds in the lake. Over 400 labourers are working to restore the lake to its past glory.
टूरिस्ट सीज़न इस टाइम पीक फ्लो पे है, तो डल लेक की क्लीनिंग वगैरह के लिए हमने पहले ही, क्योंकि टूरिस्ट जब आता है उनकी एक पहली ख्वाहिश होती है कि डल लेक देखने के लिए, तो इसके लिए हम लोगों ने क्लीन लाइनेस ड्राइव स्टार्ट की है। तो ऑलमोस्ट 450 अराउंड लेबर्स हमारे इस टाइम काम कर रहे हैं डल लेक में।
The project could give a new lease of life to the Dal Lake, which is smeared by the growing population. The canals and waterways which acted as the veins of the Dal Lake had got blocked and drastically affected the lake's water circulation.
ये बहुत अच्छी सफाई चल रहा है यहाँ, ये हमारे लिए बहुत खुशकिस्मती है, क्योंकि ये डल है ना, ये हमारा सरमा है, ये डल हमारा सरमा है, ये साफ रहेगा हम भी साफ रहेगा, डल साफ नहीं हम भी साफ नहीं, क्योंकि ये गवर्नमेंट का अच्छा कोशिश है ये डल साफ कर ये।
Kashmir Valley is amongst the favorite holiday destinations for skiers, travelers and adventure seekers. For nearly a century, hand-carved houseboats popping on the placid lake has drawn scores of visitors to the stunningly beautiful Himalayan region of Kashmir.
India and the United Nations on Tuesday joined hands to combat plastic pollution during an event in New Delhi to mark the World Environment Day. UN Environment Head said that the aim of World Environment Day this year is to make the world plastic-free to avoid enormous pollution to our environment and to our own health.
India and the United Nations on Tuesday joined hands to combat plastic pollution on the occasion of World Environment Day. Several events were organized across India, which is playing the global host of World Environment Day, to raise awareness about protecting the environment. The theme for 2018 is Beat Plastic Pollution, which invites people to consider how they can make changes in their everyday lives to reduce the usage of plastic pollution on the environment, wildlife and our own health.
The challenge is to beat one-use plastic, to get rid of what we don't need and to recycle what we do need.
Half of India's provinces and federal territories have introduced a blanket ban on plastic bags, and yet many shoppers remain wedded to the flimsy carrier bags.
हम जब तक ये प्लास्टिक के कचरे की समस्या हल नहीं करेंगे और हमारे नदी, हमारे समुंदर, हमारी मिट्टी, हमारे हवा साफ नहीं करेंगे, हम नहीं रुकेंगे.
Meanwhile, school children in India's northern Varanasi city skated in colourful clothes on city roads to spread awareness against increasing pollution. A 2015 report by the Central Pollution Control Board said Indian cities produced more than 15,000 tons of plastic waste every day.
Devotees in India's western Gujarat province offered over 3,300 pounds of dry fruits at a temple to mark the month of Purushottam. The auspicious month is a time for prayer, charity and self-improvement.
Over 3,300 pounds of dry fruits were offered to a Hindu deity at a temple in Vadodara city of India's western Gujarat province on Monday. The offering was made by members of Vaishnav community as part of a tradition to make varied offerings to the Lord during the auspicious month of Purushottam in Hindu calendar. The temple was packed with hundreds of devotees who came in to witness the massive offering.
आज वडोदरा शहर में पहली बार पुष्टि मार्ग की कोई भी हवेली में ये सूखा मेवा का बड़ो भोग का बहुत सुंदर आयोजन हुआ है. लोगों के अंदर बहुत उत्साह है और काफ़ी लोग दर्शन के लिए भी आज यहाँ उपस्थित हुए हैं और प्रभु भी बहुत प्रसन्न है.
A variety of dry fruits were arranged and placed in a decorative way as an offering to the deity. Once the ritual gets completed, all the dry fruits are distributed between the devotees and the poor people in the area.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/Asia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @Asia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.